Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Until yesterday, I would say I'm a genin from the Hidden Leaf village of the Fire Country. Today, I can say I'm that, plus something else. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I am an officer of the Green Lantern Corps. Space Sector 2814. Whatever the hell that last part means. Anyway, after my triumphant debut in the Metal Country infiltration mission, Team Kakashi returned to Konoha with news of the anti-chakra weapons destruction. Done in record time, too. It took us just until nightfall to return, instead of the 2 days it would have taken the normal way. I bet Tsunade no Bachin will be happy with my accomplishment. You did what? The 5th Hokage roared. But I thought you said. I know what I said, Naruto. Tsunade cut him off. The mission was to infiltrate the metal covertly and then, only then, neutralize the weapon. I never said anything about forcing their surrender. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, Yamato said, we did not ask their surrender. As we said, they attacked us first on Fire Country soil. Naruto would have been killed if he hadn't unlocked the power of the Green Lantern Ring. He then proceeded to destroy their anti-chakra weapon as an interpretation of your instructions, once a suitable counter to it was found. They surrendered out of fear of the power ring, as well as their own weapon. Their science division testified that the device was highly unstable to begin with, Sai continued. In a way, Naruto saved them from a potential disaster. That's awfully convenient. But I doubt their leaders saw it that way, said Tsunade. She sat back down in her chair and sighed. This is going to be a pain. Shizune. Yes. Send a message to the capital informing them of the situation and send our finest diplomats to the Hidden Steel. Tell them Konoha is willing to help with any rebuilding efforts they allow and will send supplies if they wish. Shizune nodded after finishing scribbling the Hokage's command into a scroll and hurriedly left the room. Let's hope they're willing to listen, like Sunagakure did 3 years ago, Sakura mused. So do I, Sakura, her teacher said. Now, as for you, Naruto. Here it comes, Naruto scoffed, crossing his arms. If I may, Hokage-sama, Yamato interrupted standing as straight as he could, it was my decision to continue with the mission despite our discovery. I take full responsibility for the results of my judgment. Tsunade eyed him for a few seconds and then raised her arm at him dismissively. That won't be a problem for the moment, Captain. We'll wait for the results of our olive branch to the metal first. What I was going to say, she continued, changing her focus to the blonde genin, is that I'd like to know more about your new abilities, Naruto. At this, Naruto relaxed and grinned. He raised his fist up and with a thought changed his orange jumpsuit to the Green Lantern uniform. I'm still checking my limits, he said. I can create anything I imagine, make a light shield around myself, and oh yeah, he added, gently floating a few inches above the ground, I can fly. Tsunade kept quiet for a few moments. When Naruto landed, all she said was, impressive. Tomorrow I'll be testing it out some more, he said, alluding to the fact that it was late in the evening. Before you do, there's someone else that should examine the ring. They should be here shortly. On cue, there was a knock on the door. Enter. Tsunade ordered. The door to the Hokage's office opened, revealing 3 young ninjas and their team leader. 2 of them wore standard ninja jackets and tight green jumpsuits, while the other 2 had looser white robes. Reporting as ordered, Hokage-sama, said Hyuganichi. Behind him entered Tenten, followed by Rock Lee and their teacher, Mido Guy. Thank you for coming on this short notice, Tsunade said. I called for you too. Ooh. Everyone recoiled at Lee's sudden outburst. The Taijutsu specialist rushed towards Naruto and grabbed him firmly by the shoulders. Naruto-kun, this is amazing. This suit is brimming with manly strength. So streamlined and form-fitting, with such contrasting yet meshing designs, it's perfect to bring out the power of youth. Hey. Stop. Quit it. Naruto complained to Lee, who was obsessed over the Green Lantern uniform, poking and examining its shape, colors and the logo. Boy. Your burning aura is brilliant, Naruto-kun. Lee continued with eyes on fire with excitement. Real men like us must quell our feverish might in combat. Fight me, Naruto-kun. Let our souls burn bright in the heat of battle. Are you ready? Here I. Dynamic entry. Guy cut off Lee by landing a swift, if exaggerated, kick to the younger Chunin's face that sent him crashing into Tsunade's desk headfirst. Sensei. Why? Asked Lee while he massaged his cheek. Lee, it is good that the power of youth bristles within you, but it must be tempered with discipline. There is a time and place for training with comrades. Yes sir. And Naruto-kun. Guy turned his attention to the younger ninja, who took a cautious step back. I'm glad you followed my advice. With this suit, your power will truly rise beyond its limits. He then gave Naruto a hearty thumbs up and flashed one of his trademark tooth-sparkling smiles. Well, at least he got the power-up part right, Naruto whispered to himself. Amazing, Guy-sensei. Lee added. Guy turned to his favorite pupil and both locked eyes intently. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. The next thing Naruto knew, he was crushed right between Guy and Lee, who hugged tightly together and cried joyful rivers. Unlike them, there was no happiness in the pain shooting from his ribs. "Somebody kill me." Neji mouthed, while next to him, Tenten facepalmed in utter shame. The rest of the gathered ninjas sweat dropped. "Let me go," Naruto yelled. At the same time, he summoned two rope-like tendrils from the power ring, wrapped them around Guy and Lee, and used them to separate the two out of their crushing embrace. "What's wrong with you? You wanna kill me or something?" he yelled. Neither Lee nor Guy had any answer for him. Team Guy's stunned glances were unanimous. "Naruto? How?" Tenten asked. "This is why the mission was cancelled on short notice," Tsunade explained. "Naruto has come into the possession of a very powerful weapon that allowed Team Kakashi to destroy the anti-chakra device the metal had developed." "How did he get it?" Lee asked. "Long story," Naruto answered as he set Lee and Guy down and dispelled the green cables. "The ring just came to me, saying I was fearless. It lets me create anything I can imagine out of solid green light." "How is light solid?" "I was hoping you could help answer that, Neji," the Hokage answered. "I suspect the ring projects some sort of energy and manipulates it into whatever shape Naruto wishes. I want you to confirm that with your Byakugan and determine the nature of the ring's power if you can." "Understood," Neji nodded. "Naruto, recreate the ropes you conjured." Once the lantern obeyed, he made a quick hand seal, and then. Byakugan. The veins and arteries in Neji's temples expanded and his wide eyes gained the semblance of a pupil. The Hyuga prodigy focused his bloodline limit ability on Naruto and his ring, meticulously examining the green energy. "Interesting," Neji said after some time. "Naruto, can you change the shape of your construct?" "Will do." He quickly and enthusiastically replied. With a thought, the tendrils wrapped together and became a massive bowl full of ramen. "You're certainly enjoying yourself, aren't you?" Yamato said smiling. "Well, Neji. I cannot be certain, Hokage-sama," Neji answered, "but it appears the ring is channeling massive amounts of energy. The power flows out from the ring itself and coalesces into the shapes Naruto wishes to build. It then folds back into the ring itself and dissipates." "To where?" Sakura asked him. "I am unable to say. But that's not all. The nature of the ring's energy is strikingly similar to chakra." Neji's last revelation made everyone in the room shift uncomfortably. "So the ring is some other kind of chakra weapon?" asked Sai. "As I said, it's not exactly chakra. It's much more compressed, tightly controlled and uniform. Not to mention, it's green, unlike regular blue chakra. However, its composition feels familiar." "Who or what could have designed such a powerful artifact?" Guy said. "Except for the tailed beasts, I've never seen any device able to manipulate chakra or the like with such detail." "I agree," Yamato added. "None of the countries have the technological capacity for creating something that can also grant limited abilities to others, like Naruto did to the rest of us during the mission. Unless," Sakura began, her voice tinged with worry, "the power ring is just like Sasori of the Akatsuki. If it has its own consciousness. Well, it can talk, but not like a real person anyway," Naruto interrupted. "It can talk too?" Came the immediate inquiry from Tsunade. "Then I have some questions for it." "I think it only talks to me, Tsunade no Bachin. I'll ask it." Naruto dispelled the ramen bowl and brought his closed fist up to face level. "Hey, ring. You there?" The firm yet emotionless voice filled the Hokage's chambers. "Affirmative. Who built you?" Naruto asked it. "Error partial memory core corruption. Unable to process request." The ring's reply earned it and Naruto a few quizzical stares from his companions. "Memory? Like a computer?" Sakura asked. "I thought you could do anything, ring." Naruto complained. "What error? What happened?" "Lead contamination resulting from violent ejection from the 52. More unknowing glances followed. "You're not making any sense, ring. What's this about bleeding and what's this 52 of?" "Error partial memory core corruption. Unable to process request." Tsunade scoffed after the ring's third miss. "Damn it, you broken record, how partially are you corrupted?" she yelled. What she said, Naruto ordered the ring after it did not answer the Hokage's question. 87% memory banks fragmentation estimated. Construct generation systems intact. Is there any way to reverse the corruption? Self-regeneration protocol working at 41% efficiency. Expected completion. 2 months, 8 days, 5 hours, 35 minutes, 21 seconds, 94 milliseconds. "Well, that's a no-go," Tenten mused. "Are there any alternatives?" Ring. Await contact from Administrator Green Lantern Salak. Salak. Error partial memory core corruption. Biographical records irretrievable. Processing image data. Naruto pointed the ring towards an empty space in the office where it projected a three-dimensional representation of Salak. Expecting another person, Naruto and the others gasped when the ring finished rendering the image. Salak had 2 legs, but any similarities with humans ended there. The Green Lantern administrator had 4 arms, no discernible mouth, a pointed chin with 2 spikes on each side, and a hairless crested head. "That's Alok." "What is he?" Sakura asked. By now the ring had apparently registered that it was under questioning from everyone in the room because it answered Sakura without waiting for Naruto's command. "Sligian." "Meaning?" Yamato pressed. "Error, partial memory core corruption. Unable to process request." "How convenient," Sai mused. If not for the seriousness of the moment, Naruto would have been surprised at hearing what appeared to be Sai's attempt at humor. "Looks like we're not going to get much more information out of the ring until it finishes its repairs," Nichi said. "I have one last question," Tsunade said as she stood up from her desk and approached Naruto. "What is the Green Lantern Corps and what are its intentions?" Partial response possible. Green Lantern Corps. Oldest military institution. Current membership. 5384. Primary mission. Protection of the innocent, maintain order. Weapon. Power ring. And you chose Naruto because he is fearless. Uzumaki Naruto has the ability to overcome great fear. I'll take that as a yes, the Hokage accepted. She then turned and went back to her desk. "What do you want to do, Hokage-sama?" Guy asked the leader of Konoha. Tsunade did not answer immediately and instead folded her hands together, eyes closed. Nobody spoke while she thought. "Very well," she finally said. "Naruto." "Why yes." He stiffened, worried that her tone implied he was going to have to relinquish his new prize. "Until the ring has finished its repairs, I'll allow you to keep it and use it as necessary. Relay any new information you learn about its powers or the rest of the Corps immediately. If another lantern, especially this Alok, makes contact, you will report back here at once. Furthermore, notwithstanding your new duties to these Corps, you are first and foremost a Konoha ninja, and thus answer to me." "Understood." Naruto quickly nodded with a smile. His fear was unfounded. He would still be able to enjoy his new powers. And also, given the current circumstances regarding the Metal Country, nobody outside this room can find out your identity while using the weapon. "No sweat," Naruto said, summoning the face mask and placing it over his eyes. "Tora-chan." "Bad kitty. Get back here, Tora-chan." Madame Shijimi, wife of the Fire Country's daimyo, chased after her brown-colored feline with little success. Unlike her corpulent owner, Tora was at her near-physical peak thanks to its repeated escape attempts. While the pudgy noble ran awkwardly, bumping into other villagers and swinging arms back and forth to catch any objects that fell from her purse, coat or blouse, the cat darted between other people's legs, under benches, and through shrubs with graceful ease. "Tora-chan. Come back to mommy." Tora paid little heed to Madame Shijimi's calls and ran even faster instead. A young man carrying several heavy boxes almost tripped when she dashed under him. Madame Shijimi crashed into the same worker and sent him sprawling, even as her plump frame pushed on chasing Tora. But Tora had no intention of returning. Using her accumulated speed, the cat rushed up a large tree, ran across a branch, and jumped into the nearest rooftop. "No, Tora-chan. Bad kitty. Come down right now." Tora ignored Madame Shijimi's pleas and continued her race through the roofs of Konoha's buildings. The noble followed from the ground, but she was already panting and sweating terribly thanks to her physical unfitness. At last, Tora saw her freedom and a large fence that cut off further access beyond the next building. Gleefully, she jumped far and high to her liberty. "No." Madame Shijimi wept. "Tora-chan." She yelled, dramatically reaching out to the flying cat. The former pet did not even hear the noble's cries. Tora meowed long and joyfully. The red ribbon on her left ear coincidentally fell off, symbolizing her liberation. She could almost hear the sound of angelic trumpets and see beautiful sparkles in the air around her. A single tear rolled from her eyes into her whiskers. The green sky never looked so. Tora stopped herself. Green sky. Green road. Green everything. Only then did she find that she was not moving. She was floating above the road, trapped within some sort of emerald orb. "I think you dropped this," a male voice said from behind her. She felt a slight pressure on her ear and the familiar feeling of wearing her ribbon came back. She glanced around with some effort until she saw a floating teen in a green uniform with a beam of light shooting from his closed right hand. The boy was wearing a small mask, but the hair. Him. Tora's simple mind yelled. It was him. It had been almost 3 years, but she recognized her captor instantly. Regardless of how he was floating and encased her in light, she knew he was the ninja that had caught her the first time she had escaped. "You shouldn't run away like that," Naruto told the fugitive cat. "You'd hurt the people that care about you." Naruto descended towards the astonished Madame Shijimi and a small crowd that was gathering around him. Tora thrashed and hissed and at times swiped her claws at Naruto to no avail due to the barrier surrounding her. The cat's desperation turned to horror the instant her captor released her and her owner glumped her. "Tora-chan. You had mommy so worried," the madam said, hugging her pet tightly. Tora instead meowed sorrowfully under her owner's crushing embrace. Whoever you are, thank you for bringing my Tora-chan back. That's doing my job, ma'am, Naruto replied. Are you some new kind of ninja? What's your name? Random people in the crowd asked him. I'm Naruto stopped himself before his real name slipped. Thanks to the thrill of freely using his new powers again, he almost broke Tsunade's order to not reveal his identity. Keeping his excitement in check, he instead answered. I'm the Green Lantern, Konoha's newest hero. Green Lantern looks cool, how'd he do that, he's cute, were some of the murmurs he picked up from the crowd. Oh, thank you so much, dear. Madam Shijimi said, taking his hand and shaking it vigorously. Tora struggled in vain to get free from her lessened grip. Here, let me get you something for your trouble, she added, reaching into her purse. That's okay, Naruto answered, holding his ring hand up towards her. I don't really need. Please, dear, I insist. The fat woman interrupted, shoving a few bills to his open hand. After all, you saved me the trouble of having to hire the ninja services. They're really expensive these days, you know. A few villagers nodded in agreement. Oh, don't get me wrong, dear, Madam Shijimi continued, they're good at what they do. But they're still charging so much even after the reconstruction finished, even for simple missions. Why, the other day they charged me 500 Ryu for just retrieving Tora-chan again, but they were using kids for the mission. They said one of the children was the late Hokage's grandson, but still. The daimyo's wife droned on, but Naruto wasn't listening. Instead he was doing his best to keep a straight face while he tried to stop the ring from sparking. It was taking all of his willpower to not use it on her. I gotta get going now, he said to her with a forced smile. Oh, of course, Mr. Green Lantern, she finished. More people to help out of the kindness of your heart like me and my Tora-chan. Her cat hissed in reply. Thank you again for your help. No problem. With that, Naruto floated up and away. Casting a glance back, he gave a quick wave to the awed crowd. Madam Shijimi and the rest of the gathered waved back at him excitedly. All except Tora, who bore her fangs and hissed at the Green Lantern with a hateful glare. The rest of the morning Naruto continued his aerial patrol of Konoha. Learning to fly under complete control took extra effort, it was as if learning to walk all over again, but little by little he was getting better. When he found someone in need of help, he quickly dove in to resolve whatever situation he had stumbled upon. In a few hours he had put out a fire by dumping a water tank on the blaze, built 5 new emergency shelters with custom-made tools, found a missing baby, thanks to the ring's detailed scans, literally netted a shoplifter, and helped an old lady carry her groceries. He even delivered fresh supplies to Ichiraku Ramen and gotten a free meal out of it. Gucci almost guessed his identity when Naruto accepted the offer a bit too eagerly. Wherever he flew, villagers pointed up to him and the trail of green light he left behind in amazement, some even with a bit of fear. But news of his deeds traveled fast, and by early afternoon the citizens cheered him on. I could get used to this, Naruto said to himself as he waved to a crowd of children pointing at him from the ground. He was rushing a couple to the hospital after the woman had gone into labor on the other side of town. The trio quickly arrived, and Naruto darted through the doors without bothering to land. Incoming. Soon to be mom coming through. He yelled. A few nurses jumped aside from the surprise, but a few gathered their wits and brought a wheelchair for the expectant mother. Naruto gently sat her and landed her husband. We can't thank you enough, Green Lantern, the woman said amid heavy breaths and groans. Nah, it's nothing, Naruto answered. You'll have to tell us your name later, the husband said while he followed his wife and the nurse into the emergency room. We'd very much like to name our boy after you. Naruto blushed fiercely from the man's request. Huh? You me, I mean, he stammered, but by the time he was coherent, the jubilant couple was gone. So you're the new hero that's upstaging us ninjas all across the village, someone said. Naruto turned to the speaker, who was just walking out into the main lobby. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto blurted without thinking. Yo, the copy ninja saluted Naruto with his usual simple greeting. So it's just like Tenzo said. Naruto breathed easy. So you're in the know. It's not too difficult to figure out, Kakashi nodded. Not too many have spiky blonde hair and whiskers on their face, Naru. SHH. It's a secret. Naruto shushed his teacher. He floated over to him and whispered. Tsunade no Bachan asked me not to let anyone else know. Sorry, Kakashi waved him off with both hands. You still need to tell me the whole story. Sure, but not here, Naruto said while he glanced around. Naturally, the nurses and patients were all staring at them talking. I know just the place, Kakashi suggested. Minutes later, Naruto and Kakashi sat on top of the Hokage monument, watching the whole of Konoha. Naruto did most of the talking, explaining to the former Anbujounin how he got the power ring and how he had been using it since the last day. Kakashi interrupted a few times to ask questions, which Naruto answered as best he could. Looks like you won't need the super special training I was going to give you, Kakashi said after Naruto finished telling the whole story. So I've already surpassed you, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto joked. In a way. At least you'd be a very different type of opponent to fight. Kakashi stood up and looked directly at Naruto. So what will you do now? Kakashi asked. Do what now? The genin asked, glancing at his teacher. I mean, what do you plan to do with these new abilities? Naruto scratched his head. Huh. To be honest, I hadn't thought about it too much. He turned again to Kakashi with a more determined face and added. At least, once I really get the hang of this ring, I'll bring back Sasuke, even if I have to beat some sense into him first. And while I'm at it, I'll beat up Orochimaru. He said, making a small comical construct of him standing triumphantly over the defeated Sannin. And if Akatsuki comes after me, then POW. He emphasized, punching his palm. Becoming Hokage would be just a step away. Just like that, huh? Kakashi said in a tone that did not share Naruto's enthusiasm. You don't think I can do it? He asked back, taking a guess at Kakashi's unsaid thoughts. Not like that, Kakashi denied. But just because you got a great power doesn't mean you're invincible. You yourself have accomplished that before, remember? You mean that Akatsuki bomb guy? He's a good example, Kakashi nodded. The same one that defeated Gaara-kun, whom you also defeated years ago. Well, he still had Shukaku, I should add. Gaara. Memories of the Chunin exam resurfaced, of how he had help from the great Toad Gamabunta to stop the massive Sand Badger Ichibi and save Sakura and the rest of Konoha. That loss allowed Gaara to return to his country a changed person who eventually rose to become Tsunagakure's Kazekage. Still, that was then. I mean, with the power ring, I was able to hold off a whole country. So did Sasori, and Chiyo-sama and Sakura killed him, the Jounin countered. Naruto opened his mouth to protest, but he had none to voice, so he scowled instead. Kakashi sat back down and crossed his legs. So you're saying I should just stop using the ring? The lantern finally said. On the contrary. Don't take this the wrong way, Naruto. I think the ring made its own decision to choose you, and only you, out of every other person in this world, to bear its powers. That should tell you something. But as your sensei, it's my responsibility to make sure you understand that power alone is not enough. When Naruto faced Kakashi directly, he continued. You've never fought in an actual war. Suna and Itagakure's attack was a minor skirmish in comparison. I remember that time, even the toughest ninjas fell back then. Hyugas, I went in. Ichi's. Naruto wondered momentarily why Kakashi paused after mentioning Sasuke's clan. Even the best of us have a weakness. A powerful jutsu is worthless if it leaves you open during or after using it. Keep this in mind when you're using these new powers, Kakashi said, while Naruto looked again closely at the Green Lantern ring. No weapon is perfect. Be mindful of its weaknesses and work around them to accomplish your objectives. But what kind of weakness would a ring that can do anything have? Naruto asked rhetorically. Eventually you'll find out, Kakashi said, hopefully not at the worst time. Naruto chuckled. On that I definitely agree. Kakashi nodded. We can continue later. Looks like we have a visitor, he said, turning to check in the direction of the library at the mountain summit. Perceptive as ever, Kakashi Taichu, a hidden voice said. Naruto turned to wherever Kakashi was facing and found a crouching Anbu with a bird-shaped mask. You have something to report? The former Anbu asked his junior. Actually, my business is with your companion, the spy answered, glancing at Naruto. The latter stood up and faced the newcomer. So you're this Green Lantern the villagers are gossiping about. I thought you'd be taller. And I thought you'd be sneakier instead of being caught so easily, Naruto shot back annoyed. Kakashi and the Anbu sweat dropped. Regardless, it is fortunate you were with Kakashi Taichu. I expected to have more trouble finding you, he said. He reached into his pocket and tossed Naruto a scroll, which he caught with a bubble construct. Hokage-sama asks for your help in a mission she believes will be adequately suited for your unique skills. Naruto brought the scroll to him, opened it, and read its contents. You want me to clean up the forest of death. Hokage-sama wants you to cull it, the Anbu corrected. The hazardous flora and fauna population has increased to unacceptable levels. We lost too many teams in the last Chunin exams, and to properly correct the problem would require more shinobi than we can currently spare. Naruto smirked at the opportunity. If he finished the mission single-handedly when it would normally take multiple squads, he would prove without a doubt to everyone that he was more than apt to keep the power ring for good. If he was lucky, he could even attract the attention of the rest of the corps and find out more about them and the nature of the ring. I'll do it right away and be done in no time. He proclaimed. Very well. I shall inform Hokage-sama of your acceptance, the Anbu said. Kakashi Taichu, always an honor. Yeah, Kakashi acknowledged. The Anbu then jumped back towards the library's roof. One last thing, Lantern, the Anbu said as he turned his head towards Naruto, thanks for helping my Nana with her food shopping. With that the elite ninja vanished and left the rookie Green Lantern chuckling and his sensei wondering. Time to go to work. Naruto exclaimed. He hopped off the mountain and floated a bit away. Remember what I told you, Naruto, Kakashi said. The ring should be one more tool in your whole arsenal. Don't forget what you've learned as a shinobi. Relax, Kakashi-sensei. I'll be fine. Then Naruto sped off in a blazing trail of light, leaving Kakashi alone with his thoughts. Sensei. I hope you're proud of your legacy. I am, Kakashi said to the effigy just below him. Minutes later, Naruto arrived at the entrance to the Forest of Death. Officially called the 44th Battle Training Zone, the area had earned its nickname due to the large number of massive beasts and lethal plants that called the unfit genin from the Chunin exams, many times with fatal results. From his floating position, he could see the far-off tower at the center of the forest. Right, here I go. Those beasts better beware my power, Green Lantern's light. He yelled out before flying into the thick trees. The dense canopy blocked most of the sunlight, which left the interior dimmed in a faint twilight. The sudden change was slightly jarring. Okay, first I'll hunt some bugs. Naruto flew around randomly through the forest and searched for any giant insects that lived there. He relied primarily on his eyesight, though from time to time he used the ring to look at more obscure locations. The minutes rolled on, but he had not found a single insect, even from the normal-sized variety. What's going on here? He wondered out loud. Maybe if I pose as prey. To test his theory, he landed and dimmed his aura. Hey, over here. Dinner's on me. He yelled. To attract even more attention, he made a bell construct and clanged it as hard as he could. When that failed to turn up anything, he morphed the bell into a bullhorn and screamed into it. Are you all deaf? I'm right here. Come and eat me. Again, the only reply from the forest was silence. It was then he really noticed how quiet the forest itself was. Aside from the faint rustling of leaves in the weak wind, there was no other sound coming from the site. This is weird. Ring, look for animals close by. Scanning, the ring responded. After a few seconds, it said. No life forms detected in 50 meters. This unnerved Naruto. Nothing. Not even an ant or bee. Negative. Naruto glanced around. What's wrong here? They are afraid. Afraid? What's that have to do with anything? Please restate inquiry. Ugh, not your stupid errors again, he complained. Whatever. Ring, scan for life forms in 100 meters. Scanning. Again, the ring answered after a few seconds. No life forms detected in 100 meters. What? Naruto exclaimed. He took another look around. What's going on here? He said, a single drop of sweat rolling down his forehead. Ring, find closest life form. Scanning. This time the ring took a little longer to answer than before. Closest life form located 236.4 meters southeast. Without hesitation, Naruto took off and flew in the direction the ring indicated. I'm gonna have to talk to Tsunade no Bachin about this. Did someone do the mission before I got here? Perhaps. Well, aren't you talkative, he told the ring. Usually I have to ask you for something first. Command not registered. Please restate. What are you talking about? You spoke first. Look to your right. Naruto obeyed the ring. He yelled out when he saw a giant snake glaring at him a few inches away. He immediately conjured a massive axe that beheaded the serpent and then backed off as the head splattered to the ground. The leftover from Orochimaru? He said while panting. But I thought you said there were no. Naruto stopped when he saw the snake's body was still prone in attack position, even as its severed head coated the forest floor thick with bloody ichor. He examined it closer and was stunned by the wooden spike that jutted from the ground and impaled the serpent through its front neck. Mouth agape, he had to float down before he lost his concentration. Gruesome, is it not? Naruto could not answer. More blood dripped from the severed neck, but not enough to suggest it had died recently. What did this? Unknown. Naruto shook his head. With his composure regained, he addressed the ring. You think that life form you found has anything to do with this? Perhaps. Unknown. Damn it, make up your mind. He said absent-mindedly. Are you afraid? The ring asked. It was a strange question for it to ask, Naruto thought. Just spooked. It'll pass. Now let's find whatever did this, he said. Not wanting any more sudden surprises, he walked instead to where the ring was directing him via a faint light beam. A short distance away, he found a second animal dead on the ground. He knelt and checked the squirrel and found a single puncture that pierced its heart and crossed all the way to its back. He walked on, and as he did he found a disturbing amount of dead creatures on his route. From giant leeches and centipedes to deer and tigers, his path was strewn with mutilated animal corpses. A cold chill crept down his back. Unnerved. This is wrong, Naruto answered. Someone did this. No animal is so cruel. Were you not sent here for the same purpose? I would have been quick about it at least, he countered. He stopped when he reached a clearing littered with more dead bodies. Horrible. Who did this to you all? Ring, where is that life form? Life form readings lost. Huh? It should be here. Where did it go? Was it one of these animals? Negative. Life form identified as human. Then where is he? Unknown. Naruto growled and punched the nearest tree. Damn it. What's going on here? Are you afraid? What's up with you? He yelled at the ring. You want me to say yes or something? Maybe you should just give up. Naruto almost yelled back at the ring, but then he remembered the first thing it had told him a few nights ago. He glanced around one more time, this time using his ninja senses instead of relying on the power ring. You're not the ring. You talk about fear when the ring is about no fear. The lantern shot his arm up and released a thick beam of light towards a tree on the far side of the clearing. The instant the beam hit, a humanoid figure jumped from behind it and landed a short distance away in front of Naruto. It's about time you figured it out, Naruto-kun, the man said. Naruto instantly recognized the black and red cloak and the face of his enemy and quickly looked down to avoid his penetrating gaze. Uchiha. Itachi. Naruto wasted no time and raised his green aura to full strength. What are you doing here? Back again to try and capture me? You should have brought your shark friend along for that. Without making eye contact, Naruto aimed his ring straight at the Akatsuki. Kisame is indisposed at this time. And is this massacre you're doing? A test, he answered calmly. Well, congratulations, you're still the same bloodthirsty killer as always, Naruto shot. It was more than a test of my prowess, Naruto-kun, Itachi said. He took a step forward and Naruto responded by charging his ring for another blast. So the rumors are true. You've come into possession of a great power. You heard right, the blonde answered. I'm gonna do great things with it, starting with taking you out. Ah, yes, the part about defeating me and my companions and rescuing my foolish little brother, Itachi taunted. I heard you when you spoke with Kakashi-san. Naruto stiffened when he heard Itachi's words. You were there? In a way, the Uchiha cryptically answered. It matters not. What matters is that I am here, right where you want me. Though I still believe you are not capable of defeating me. Stick around, Naruto retorted. I'll do the same thing to you that I did to the metal. Very well. Itachi opened up his arms, inviting Naruto to attack. Strangely, he kept his hands inside the cloak sleeves. Here I am. Beware my power. Naruto released the charge from his ring. A beam of green light shot forth straight towards Itachi, who barely jumped over the incredibly fast attack. The forest behind him exploded, scattering wood, rock, and dust across the clearing. To avoid any ambushes, Naruto shot up to the sky and then cleared the dust with a large fan. Itachi was gone, and to his surprise, so were the animal corpses. He had me in a genjutsu all that time? He guessed. It unnerved him that Itachi had suckered him even as a Green Lantern. Ring, listen closely. Make my mask a blinder so no energy can come through, but make it so that I can somehow still see what's going on. Complying. Adapting for virtual optics. For an instant, Naruto's world went black, but instantly came back, except everything was covered in a green hue. From the corner of his eye he saw an incoming kunai, which he promptly caught with a summoned target dummy. The dummy then took the knife, charged it with green energy, and threw it back where it came from, causing another explosion. Itachi emerged from the dust with his cloak somewhat dirty and damaged, but otherwise unscathed. Naruto immediately dove towards him. Heitan, Bikaku no Jutsu. Itachi breathed deep and released a massive fireball that raced towards Naruto. Unabated, the Green Lantern plowed through the attack and emerged unscathed. He immediately followed up by showering Itachi with conjured shuriken. A few caught and tore at his cloak, but again the Uchiha murderer dodged out of the way. Naruto kept up the pressure, following Itachi from the safety of the air and sending more attacks his way. Itachi dodged and attacked back, throwing his own kunai and fire jutsus, which Naruto blocked easily by expanding his aura into a shield sphere. Is this all you can do without genjutsu? Naruto taunted. Itachi did not answer and instead spit out large globs of water that took his shape. Thanks to Naruto's enhanced mask, he was able to see the real one vanish back into the trees. Get back here. In a single motion, the ring speared the 5 clones and electrocuted them with green energy, while a massive toad constructs descended around his opponent and blocked off his exit further into the woods. Itachi emerged again and jumped to land a point-blank Kakaku. The green shield held, and Naruto used the opportunity to summon 2 large fists that grabbed Itachi and threw him hard to the ground. At the last second the Uchiha turned and landed on his feet. Impressive, Naruto-kun, he said. I might have to take you seriously. You're a little late for that, Naruto taunted with a wide grin. Before Itachi could ask, he felt a tight grip on his legs. He looked down, surprised, and saw his lower half was trapped in concrete. In an instant, a mass of vines tethered his arms and 2 thick chains collared his neck. You thought I was throwing all those shurikens for show. I left them underground until you were close enough for me to turn them into traps. Trickery does not become you, Naruto-kun, Itachi said. Do you think this will hold me? You know that I'm capable of more. I won't let you do more. Do you really believe I would come here without knowing what you can do as a lantern? That I would not have a way to capture you even with your new powers? You're bluffing, Naruto said. You're caught. I can tell that's the real you chained. It matters not. When I free myself, you will see that even with your ring, you are still weak. Naruto grit his teeth. Instead of answering Itachi, he summoned dozens of glowing green globes of power that surrounded his opponent ominously. "It's over," Naruto declared. "No. It has only begun. Are you afraid?" "No. You should be. You will be." Naruto yelled and threw his fist forward, just as Itachi finally exposed his right hand closed into a fist. At the lantern's command, the spheres descended upon the trapped Itachi and detonated on impact in a destructive green and yellow fireball. A vast cloud of dust covered the battlefield and engulfed Naruto as well. Satisfied, Naruto descended and landed in front of where his opponent would be. "Sasuke, your clan is avenged," he said. "I did it. You did nothing," Itachi's voice boomed from within the dust cloud. Naruto gasped and whirled around, aiming the ring everywhere. "Where are you?" he yelled. "How did? My first ninjutsu was not a test of my abilities. I was testing you and the Green Lantern Corps' power ring. I was testing your fear." Naruto kept trying to find Itachi, but his voice was indistinct and the dust obscured his view. "How do you know about the core?" Naruto shot back. "Your fear allowed me to fool not just you, but your ring as well," was Itachi's answer. "Ring, find him." "Fear overriding willpower," it answered. Naruto had no time to ask it what it meant because then a strong wind blew off all the smoke. Itachi was still there, chained and bound, but he was surrounded by a shield sphere much like his own green one. Despite his mask showing him an emerald-colored virtual reality, Itachi's own construct appeared bright yellow. The globe dissipated, but a bright golden glow still shone from Itachi's right fist. The moving light centered on his middle finger, where, to Naruto's horror, the Uchiha wore a ring just like his own. "I know your fears, Naruto-kun. Despite your naive bravado, you are afraid. Of your failures. Of your weakness. And of me." The concrete binding his legs crumbled, the tendrils withered, and the chains rusted. Naruto stood, cold sweat drenching his face, unable to react as Itachi broke free from the green constructs with the least of efforts. "You are afraid. You are ready to see that yours is not the only light to shine." As Itachi spoke, he ripped off the last of his worn Akatsuki cloak, revealing a tight black suit beneath, adorned with yellow spike-shaped patterns coming down from his neck and shoulders down to his torso. Thick amber boots and armbands completed his new garment. Like Naruto's lantern uniform, the Uchiha's suit bore a sigil in its center, but the logo's shape was different, with two handles coming from the bottom of the inner circle and wrapping up to its top. Petrified, Naruto couldn't help but stare at Itachi's eyes, where now the same symbol overlapped his Sharingan and made them glow yellow instead of red. The Uchiha prodigy tossed the remains of his cloak aside, and a golden miasma seeped from his ring to cover him and his surroundings. "In blackest day and brightest night beware your fears made into light. Let those who try to stop what's right burn like my power Uchiha's might." Itachi raised his own yellow power ring in a slow, almost casual motion and aimed it directly at his awestruck opponent. "Tell me, Naruto-kun. What is your greatest fear?" "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I am an officer of the Green Lantern Corps. Space Sector 2814. And I am in deep shit." Itachi raised his own yellow power ring in a slow, almost casual motion and aimed it directly at his awestruck opponent. "Tell me, Naruto-kun. What is your greatest fear?" Naruto answered by blasting Itachi again. The older ninja nonchalantly swatted the green beam away, which obliterated another patch of forest but left him and his right hand unscathed. "Now you see the limits of your ring," he said. "A fearful green lantern is a worthless green lantern." He casually took a few steps towards Naruto. "Stay away." Naruto yelled at him. He shot another beam that bounced off Itachi's aura. "I suppose you are not as fearless as you or your ring believed," the yellow-clad Uchiha said. "This should be quick." "I'm not done yet." Naruto yelled. He flew towards Itachi and hit him with a green fist. Instead of knocking him, the blow shattered the yellow-clad lantern like glass. Wah. The broken fragments grew, pulsed, and morphed into large yellow ravens that immediately swarmed Naruto. "Get off me." He screamed as he vainly swatted the birds away. They attacked him relentlessly, pecking, biting and clawing wherever they could. Naruto shot straight up and made enough distance from the ravens to bombard them with a barrage of lasers that struck the birds with uncanny precision. But once again, the ravens split into smaller crows and the speedier constructs rushed and overwhelmed Naruto. "Damn it." He cursed. He expanded his aura into a spherical shield that the crows immediately attacked. Their beaks cracked the ball like an eggshell with little effort and soon the construct surrounded him. Naruto could not see anything except moving yellow blurs that completely blocked his sight. "Over here." Naruto grunted and turned his head around. He barely caught sight of Itachi, who then slammed his fist into the younger ninja and sent him reeling to the ground below. But before Naruto crashed, Itachi caught him in a summoned rope and hauled him back up. Desperately, the Green Lantern created a pair of scissors and tried to cut the rope, but his construct broke after several unfruitful attempts and the split blades fell into the forest. "Is this all your pithy willpower can accomplish?" "Not even close," Naruto countered. As Itachi pondered his target's answer, he heard a strong rustling growing louder. He turned to see a large tree, surrounded by a green aura, flying straight towards him. Its base was cleanly cut and embedded in it was a broken piece of the scissor construct he had created moments ago. The dark-haired Akatsuki was forced to release his captive as he quickly spun and brought forth a massive bear trap construct that crushed the tree. To Itachi's surprise, a second tree crashed into him from behind. Naruto used his ring to aim the tree back down, crushing Itachi. He wasted no time and summoned a massive hammer and pounded his opponent, which flattened the tree and Itachi. Naruto, panting, dissolved the hammer once he felt confident the evil lantern was finished. He floated down and found a wooden log where Itachi used to be. "Power Emi. You've improved, Naruto-kun," Itachi taunted. Naruto looked up towards his enemy and was instantly blinded by the glowing afternoon sun behind him. He willed his mask to block the intense light, but despite the resulting green tint on his sight, Itachi retained a clashing golden hue. "But it appears that in flaunting your new skills you are content to forsake others. What do you mean? You have no hope of defeating me. I am the superior lantern, just as I am the superior shinobi." With that, his hands performed lightning fast seals and ended with a tiger gesture. "Kaiten, Gakakyu no Jutsu." The elder ninja spewed forth a massive orange fireball that scorched the air and raced towards Naruto. The green lantern immediately constructed a great shield to block the incoming jutsu. The fireball slammed against the shield and exploded, engulfing Naruto and his surroundings in searing heat. If not for the force field surrounding him, he would have shared the fate of the now barren clearing. But as Naruto held back the last of the flames, he saw a number of yellow gleams emerging from within the fiery remnants. 6 kunai constructs, hidden within the jutsu, tore through his shield and aura with ease. "Jaya!" Naruto yelled as the energy blades dug into his shoulders, legs and chest, with one last blade glancing his right cheek. "Well, Naruto-kun. What do you think of my better power ring?" Itachi taunted from behind the last of the dissipating flames. "Screw you," Naruto grunted. His opponent answered by making the yellow kunace twist and sink deeper into his skin. Naruto grit his teeth and grunted heavily, but did not give Itachi the pleasure of screaming again. "Don't worry. You should know by now that I have no intention of killing you." He waved his hand, and the 5 knives grew hooks that held Naruto firm, along with thick ropes that tethered back to Itachi's ring. "You are of much more use to me alive. I won't let you take me back to Akatsuki." "I was not referring to those tools," Itachi countered. "It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna kick your butt. HMPH. You are certainly doing a good job of it," Itachi joked. Naruto did not respond to his enemy's taunt and instead forced his hands together into a seal despite the pain. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." 5 clones appeared around him, and while he held them in the air with his ring's power, they all grabbed the yellow tendrils and pulled hard. As Itachi was dragged down towards Naruto and his shadow clones, they carefully but quickly released the real Naruto and threw the hooks at Itachi. The latter dismissed the hooks and increased his momentum towards Naruto, and he ordered his clones to intercept Itachi while he created green bandages for his wounds. The clones flew up and approached Itachi with increasing speed. "Vanish." Itachi shot at the 5 clones, who dodged the beams and brandished katanas the real Naruto created for them. Itachi dodged the first clone and kicked him, making it disappear in a puff, but the other 4 took advantage of Itachi's opening. They yelled menacingly and readied their swords. Suddenly the clones' katanas and the aura around them disappeared without warning. The clones crashed hard to the forest floor and dissolved into smoke. Itachi stopped and observed the result with curiosity, while Naruto gaped. "What the hell?" "Warning. Power levels 12%, the green ring said. "You have a limit," Naruto yelled at it. "When were you planning on telling me?" Inquiry never stated. "How amusing," Itachi commented with a smile. Though it was only the second time Naruto saw Sasuke's brother grin like that, it somehow made him appear even more menacing. "It appears your little heroics this morning came at a price." "You?" Naruto whispered. He wondered how long Akatsuki had been watching him since he had gotten the ring. "You're my target, after all." "Now, it's time we left, Naruto-kun," Itachi said before he extended his hand out to Naruto invitingly. "Get away." In desperation, Naruto threw his arm forward and let loose a brilliant flash from his ring. Despite its green tint, the brightness enveloped Itachi, who was forced to cover his eyes to protect them from the intense light. When it subsided, the Sinestro recruit saw that his target had disappeared. "I didn't expect him to actually run away," Itachi said to himself. Ring, trace Green Lantern energy signature. Green Lantern energy readings minimal. Unable to locate target, his yellow ring answered. "If he leaves the forest he may gather support." Itachi wondered. Ring, based on present readings, extrapolate perimeter boundaries where he may be located. His weapon complied and presented him with a diagram of the forest, which then zoomed in on a large subsection. Itachi wasted no time and sped off in pursuit. Deep in the dense forest of death, Naruto flew away from the battle site. He had lowered his ring's aura to a minimum to preserve power and avoid detection, and he flew almost skimming the soil beneath him. "Any trace of Itachi?" he asked the ring. "Minimum target distance is 147 meters. You can't pinpoint him exactly." "Negative," the ring replied. It then added. "Warning. Power levels 10%. This'll have to do for now." Naruto landed near a mass of shrubs and promptly ducked into the densest one he could find. He silently observed his surroundings, and once he was convinced Itachi was nowhere near, he addressed the ring. "Why didn't you tell me you have a power limit?" "Inquiry never stated," the ring answered again. "Kakashi-sensei was right, damn it," he scoffed. "Okay, ring, then I'm inquiring now. Tell me everything about your weaknesses, starting with this power level thingy." Partial response possible. Periodic charging required to maintain power levels for construct generation, flight, and hostile environment protection. Minimal power reserves stored for emergency protection and minor administrative protocols. Total charge supplies power for approximately 24 standard hours. How do you recharge? Periodic recharge through personal Green Lantern power battery required. And where's mine? Unknown. Await contact from Administrator Green Lantern Salak. Then can't you contact him? Error, unable to locate Oa. Why? What's this Oa? What do you? Before Naruto could finish asking, the ground rattled and a loud boom reverberated across the forest. The young ninja scanned the area but did not find any trace of Itachi. "Never mind that for now. Tell me more about Itachi's ring and why you can't seem to do squat against him." Subject to Chiha, Itachi drafted to the Sinestro Corps. The what? Partial response possible. Sinestro Corps. Villainous analog of the Green Lantern Corps, founded by former Green Lantern Sinestro of Sector 1417. Primary objective. Control and conquest through instilling great fear. Primary weapon. Yellow power ring, possessing abilities equal to green power ring. If they're equal, why can't you do anything to his constructs? Green energy polluted by yellow impurity. Offensive and defensive systems weakened against yellow. Seriously? Naruto asked, surprised. "It's just a color. It's the color of fear," a voice spoke from above. Naruto stiffened upon hearing Itachi. He immediately dimmed his ring's force field to its absolute minimum. He then scanned the area around as well as above him as stealthily as he could. Despite the voice, there was no trace of the Sinestro Corps member. "Where is he?" Naruto whispered to himself. "You cannot hide forever, Naruto-kun," Itachi spoke again. Naruto tried to pinpoint from where he heard it, but the dense forest deflected the origin of the sound too much. A deep silence filled the forest. Naruto dared not move an inch. His mask began to slip as his face sweat, and his uniform felt unnervingly tight all of a sudden. The quiet atmosphere was broken by the quickening beat of his own heart. "There you are," Itachi said. Naruto gasped. He whirled around, and yet Itachi was nowhere to be seen. From his side he saw a very faint yellow glow, and when he spun to face it, he stared straight into a slanted yellow mirror. The fine crystal construct reflected the light from another precisely aimed mirror, then to another, and another, until it ended with an image of Itachi's penetrating gaze. Parallax Sharingan. The world disappeared into blackness. Instantly, Naruto found himself in a rocky barren wasteland and crucified to a lone dead tree by yellow constructs. The sky was a sickening amber, and the weak sunlight was repeatedly obscured by obsidian clouds. "Is this?" hissed Tsukiyomi. "Damn it." Naruto cursed. "So Kakashi-sen spoke to you about it." "Good," Itachi said. He floated casually in front of Naruto with his arms crossed. Naruto struggled to free himself, but the binding ropes that tied him and the kunai pinning him to the wood did not allow him. "Don't waste your strength, Naruto-kun. I am in full control of this world." Naruto clenched his teeth and remembering his ring, he tried to create any construct to attack Itachi, but his ring did not respond at all. "That won't work," Itachi said. "As I said, this is my world, magnified by the power of fear. Quit your stupid talk about fear." Naruto bellowed. "You're right, I don't need to remind you anymore, now that you are clearly afraid." "So what?" the Green Lantern countered. "Fear is just an emotion. I'll find a way to get out of this, then I'll beat you to a pulp." "Just an emotion?" Itachi asked. He flew closer to Naruto and said as he did so. "How did Konoha's leaders react during your first Chunin exam when they learned Orochimaru had his own plans? What do many feel when they hear the name of Akatsuki? What feelings does the QB you yourself hold evoke on your countrymen? How did you feel when you saw my own power ring? How would you feel about this?" After the last question, the world behind Itachi rippled and pulsed, and while he, Itachi and the tree did not move, the rest of the landscape rushed past them. Naruto gasped when they stopped outside what would be the top of the Hokage monument, looking down on a devastated burning Konoha. He saw as the buildings toppled and the flames devoured the life of the village. His view zoomed in onto the Hokage building, where there lay the still and bloodied bodies of his friends and comrades. The tree and vines vanished, but before he had any chance to react, a strong fist grabbed him by the collar, and soon he found himself helplessly struggling under the grip of the sole attacker. Sasuke. The real Naruto was horrified to see his former teammate holding him effortlessly, while to his side Kakashi and Sakura lay dead, impaled by two katanas crackling with electricity. Why, Sasuke, why? Naruto yelled as tears rolled uncontrollably from his eyes. Sasuke raised him up by his neck, and as the image struggled, the flames burned off Sasuke's face to reveal Orochimaru's serpentine features stare back. Sasuke-kun and I are one. And we will have our revenge on all, the former Sannin said. He tightened his grip on Naruto's neck. He stiffened as a sickening crack reverberated over the sound of the fire, and all sound and sight died immediately afterwards. A split second later, which seemed an unforgiving eternity to Naruto, he and Itachi were back in the same desolate landscape. Naruto breathed heavily, and his heart slowly returned from its frantic beating. How did it feel? Itachi asked. Naruto couldn't answer. Was the fear and sorrow you felt just some nuisance? You bastard. Naruto yelled. I'll kill you. There is no need for rage, Naruto-kun, Itachi replied calmly. Your home and comrades are safe, at least for the moment. I merely wish to prove to you the power of emotions. Power. Of emotions. Naruto repeated amid heavy breaths. Fear is not just an emotion, not just a warning against danger, Itachi said. Fear has power. Power to control your subordinates or paralyze your enemies. It can sow chaos or force order. All the Sinestro Corps has done is harness that living power to fuel the yellow rings. Naruto narrowed his vision and frowned slightly. Now I know you're crazy. The rings fuel his emotion. Believe what you wish. How exactly such technology or jutsu functions is unimportant, but its effects are undeniable. Your own willpower, manifested as the light of the green lanterns, should be proof enough for you. Willpower and fear are very much alive. The tree Naruto was hung to began to shake. It was a slow periodic bristle at first, but it quickly grew to an earth-shaking tremor that sent pain shooting through Naruto's nailed limbs. He grunted and tried to break free again, but the ethereal kunes held fast. The dead plant glowed bright yellow and began to creep out of its rooted spot. The branches themselves moved and arced downwards, and the nails disappeared and let Naruto drop. Before he could right himself, the tree branches reached down, grabbed him tight, and turned him to face the main bark. It was then Naruto saw that it was not a tree at all. What had been a plant before was now a slim yet tall yellow monster that glowed brighter than the darkening sun above. This is. Naruto stammered. He recognized the beast from his dream. In his shock, he did not notice Itachi's silence. Parallax. The older lantern whispered. The golden creature flicked its long, silky wings, emitting a clicking sound that filled the world. Its tendril-like fingers and straw-thin legs betrayed a crushing strength that easily kept Naruto helpless. Its long tail danced gracefully behind it, then suddenly lashed and whipped the ground with enough power to heave rocks far and away. And on its chest, like the beating heart of an evening star, various lines twisted and circled to form a rough design of the same symbol Itachi wore on his ring and uniform. Parallax roared to the heavens, its shrill cry reverberating painfully in Naruto's ears. It then locked its penetrating gaze on Naruto with the eyes of a hungry predator. It opened its massive jaws and brought the hapless green lantern into its maw, where rows of circling sharp teeth dripped with amber saliva. Not like this. All of a sudden, Itachi conjured a long, straight Nadachi, rushed at Parallax, and deftly cut its hands off. Naruto stared at his opponent, stunned, while the fear entity roared in pain. Immediately it reached forward, attempting to devour Itachi whole after such an affront, but Itachi nonchalantly performed a quick one-handed seal and yelled. Kai. In an instant, the bleak landscape around Naruto disappeared, replaced by the shaded grounds of the forest. He fell to his knees and stared at his hands, and although they were not harmed, he still felt some pain from Itachi's illusion and from his earlier wounds. His enemy, for his part, still stood in front of him with the same emotionless demeanor that characterized him. You stopped the jutsu. You saved me. Naruto said in disbelief over his enemy's action. I've told you before, Naruto-kun, you are of no use dead. But. You. That thing, why did you bring out that monster if you couldn't control it? Itachi did not answer. Then Naruto barely saw him squint. Wait. You didn't. No more talk. We leave now. Itachi then raised his ring once more towards Naruto. The faint whizzing sound from his right side caught the Sinestro Corpsman's attention. While still keeping his eyes and right arm locked on Naruto, he shifted his head sideways, grabbed the incoming kunai with two fingers on his left hand. It only took him a quick glance to see the hidden attacker intended for him to catch it. An exploding ta. Before he finished the last word, the seal inscribed paper fastened to the knife caught fire and burst. The forest echoed with a loud boom from the resulting explosion that engulfed Itachi. Naruto covered his face protectively, but then felt a sharp tug that dragged him back and up into the forest canopy. He glanced down and saw a black shadow surrounding him. "Got you." Naruto landed on one of the thicker branches of a nearby tree. He looked back and saw another ninja around his age dressed in the common Chunin uniform. "Shikamaru," he exclaimed. "How did you have Shino and his bugs to thank, Naruto?" Who's this Naruto?" he said, vainly trying to hide his identity. "Please," Shikamaru rolled his eyes. "You might fool the villagers but not your friends. Anyway, there's no time for that." The other ninja stared back down to the smoke cloud where Itachi was in. There's no way that attack stopped him. "Tell me everything about his new abilities. He's like me. He can create anything he wants out of that ring, just like mine," Naruto summarized. "He can also use all of his jutsus." "This is gonna be so troublesome," Shikamaru cursed. Just then Itachi shot up from the cloud. Despite the earlier explosion, he was unharmed thanks to his ring's force field. "I have no time for games," he said as he dashed towards the duo. "We have to fall back and get more support," Naruto told Shikamaru. "Who says I came alone?" he answered. Just as Itachi was about to reach them, the wood between them burst open and another ninja sprung forth. Konoha Shufu. Rock Lee attacked the Sinestro Corpsman with a fast rising kick. Itachi barely stopped in time and bent back to avoid it, but when his sight caught the sky, he realized the other ninja intended for him to do so. From above, yet another attacker, this one rolled into massive ball, fell with surprising speed and aimed right for Itachi. Lee and Shikamaru grabbed Naruto and jumped away quickly. Nikiden Sensha. Akimichi Choji crashed on top of Itachi, finally tearing the thick branch from the tree and sending them both down to the ground below. Itachi landed hard on his feet but managed to hold his place as he conjured a thick shield to hold Choji back. He again heard the same whistle as before, but this time coming from all around him. Itachi, wasting no time, extended the shield all around him and let the oncoming rush of kunes, shurikens, spiked morning stars, scythes, and varied other weapon types hit, despite all of them being tagged with explosives. The weapon strikes and subsequent explosions did nothing to his enhanced aura. Tired of being on the defensive, Itachi quickly pinpointed his latest attacker's position, covered the still rotating Choji with a force field, and hurled him as a massive wrecking ball into the forest. "Tenten, watch out." Choji yelled. A female ninja dressed in white jumped out from her hiding spot just before he crashed. "Take this." Tenten continued to assault Itachi with weapons from her summoning scroll, but the rain of metal had no effect on the yellow construct. "You bore me," Itachi sneered. He flew straight up towards Tenten. "She's defenseless." Naruto yelled at Shikamaru. "No," Shikamaru stopped him. "We just won." Before Naruto could protest, from behind Itachi yet another ninja, dressed in traditional hakama, sprang forth straight towards the enemy lantern. "Juken Ho. Haki Rakujian Sho." Itachi twisted around upon hearing the jutsu's name. Even an Uchiha had to exercise caution against a Hyuga. Despite his power ring, this still held true, especially against Jonin Hyuga Niji. Itachi began to create a construct to counter Niji, but by then the clan's prodigy was too close. Haki Nai Sho. Niji landed 2 quick strikes against Itachi, who grunted in pain. Yon Sho. 4 additional hits began to affect Itachi's flow of chakra, despite the ring's aura. Hachi Sho. Niji's pinpoint accuracy did not fail to find his 8 targets. Jiroku Sho. By the 16th hit, Tenten was long gone, and Niji was slowly turning Itachi down towards the forest floor. Sanjuni Sho. 32 strikes were finally taking their toll on Itachi and the Sinestro core ring as the aura around him disappeared into nothingness. Rakujian Sho. The final 64th strike sent Itachi spiraling down and crashing against the ground, leaving a small crater from the forceful impact. Niji landed gracefully right in front of him. Ring status report. Sinestro 2814 deceased. Space Sector 2814 scan for replacement sentient initiated. The yellow ring dislodged itself from Itachi's finger and sped off to the heavens, leaving only a golden trail behind. "He's dead?" Niji asked almost incredulously. "You got him?" Naruto yelled. Lee, Tenten and Choji stood proudly where they had landed. Shikamaru made no expression. Next to him and Naruto landed Yamanaka Ino, Sakura's longtime friend and fellow medical ninja, who immediately placed a hand on his head and the other held his wrist. "Normal chakra flow and steady pulse," she said. "Other than these wounds you look fine. Take off those green bandages." Naruto obeyed her and dissipated the constructs around the wounds Itachi had given him earlier, which Ino immediately began to heal with her medical jutsu. "Alright, everyone, let's take him in, but approach with caution. This is still Uchiha Itachi we're talking about, even his corpse might be dangerous," Shikamaru told everyone. Tenten, Choji and Lee approached the unconscious Akatsuki slowly but deliberately. Tenten had summoned steel chains to bind the body, while Lee and Choji grabbed him. Niji stayed behind and kept his Byakugan active the whole time. He opened his eyes wide when he saw a flood of chakra flood out of the body. "Everyone, back off." The four jumped away from Itachi's body, which suddenly swelled and exploded into a brilliant yellow fireball. I knew it couldn't have been this easy, Shikamaru scowled. I suppose I should congratulate you all, Itachi's voice reverberated. You managed to defeat my clone even with me enhancing it with my ring. Niji, find him. Shikamaru ordered. The Hyuga Jonin was already on it, using his Byakugan to scan the entirety of the forest. He's not close, Niji said. I'll try. GLRGH. He was halted mid-sentence when a gush of blood erupted from his mouth and neck. A thin beam of yellow energy had pierced the left side of his neck and burst from the right. Before anyone could react, the beam went taut like a rope, then twisted and coiled, tossing Niji up and towards Ino, Naruto and Shikamaru. Niji? Tenten screamed. Shikamaru glanced at Naruto with a look that asked him to catch Niji. When he saw Naruto was stunned from the sight, he took matters into his own hands. Hagius no Jutsu. Shikamaru's shadow raced out from him, split into tendrils, and reached up to grab the wounded Jonin. The shadow softly placed him right next to the petrified Green Lantern. Ino. Shikamaru said. Without hesitation, Ino stopped Naruto's treatment and placed her hands firmly on both sides of Niji's neck. Her firm palms applied direct pressure to the wounds, stopping the flow of blood, and she immediately poured her healing chakra to seal the potentially fatal punctures. Shikamaru. Lee yelled. Will he be? You have no time to be worried for others. Lee turned around with a spinning backhand that was caught in a jelly-like construct, and he found himself staring right into Itachi's red and yellow eyes. You may be fast, but not as fast as light. Sharingan. An instant later Lee crumpled to the ground, enraptured in Itachi's genjutsu. Itachi, alive, well, and still a part of the Sinestro Corps, then aimed at Tenten and halted another oncoming hail of weapons. Is that all you can do? With a wave of his hand, Tenten's arsenal, now covered in yellow force fields, spun around and raced towards their owner. Nikyuden Hari Sensha. Choji rolled into a large ball again, except now his long hair stood up like spikes and surrounded him. He swiftly protected Tenten and barely deflected Itachi's attack, then he rushed Itachi in another attempt to crush and impale him. Itachi tossed his arm forward and projected a massive whetstone into which Choji crashed. Choji continued his attack, attempting to break through the wall. Sparks erupted from the construct surface as the abrasive surface held against the onslaught. Just as Sasuke's brother planned, the rock wore out Choji's hair until there was little left. Suddenly he transformed the grinding tool into a slanted pipe into which the still rolling Akimichi plowed through and exited out another end, as if shot from a cannon. And then there were two, he said, glancing around and attempting to find Naruto and the others. There's not much your comrades can do against fear, Naru. At that moment he felt a shock race through his whole body. He tried to move, but found he could not. Hagime no Jutsu, success. Though unable to twist sideways, Itachi was able to roll his eyes to his side. Shikamaru was kneeling a few feet away from him and his shadow had stretched to link the two of them. Impressive, Itachi said. But not nearly enough. You won't think that soon, Shikamaru said. He moved his hands and simulated the motion of taking off a ring, which Itachi was forced to mimic thanks to the jutsu. You miscalculated, Nara. I do not need to move to be able to think. Before his fingers touched the Sinestro ring, a thick wide beam shot from its surface and slammed into Shikamaru's chest. The solid light pinned Shikamaru to a tree, then wrapped around him and tied him. Now tell me where Naruto is hiding. No deal. Shikamaru grunted when Itachi tightened the bonds. I could find him myself, you know. But if you told me, it would be less troublesome, he added with emphasis. I'm not trash that sells out his friends like that, Shikamaru said. I'm not a traitor like you. Itachi made no reply. He narrowed his eyes and tightened his fist, and the construct responded in kind. Shikamaru screamed as two of his ribs cracked. Not far off, Naruto heard the team leader's pained yell. He's unstoppable. Pull yourself together, Naruto. Ino scolded him. You have a power ring too. You can stop him. I can't, Naruto shook his head. I tried. I can't. My ring can't affect yellow. Why? It's just a color. Where? Niji, Ino and Naruto glanced down towards their older teammate. The two holes were healed, but his voice was rasped and his robes were stained red from the large amount of blood he had lost. Where's Naruto? He strained to ask. I'm here, the blonde ninja answered. No. Niji, don't try to talk, you're still. Ino ordered, but Niji ignored her and continued. You're not. Naruto. You're just a coward. He grunted as he tried to get up but couldn't, so Ino helped him despite a reluctance. Where is the Naruto that we accompanied? In chasing down Uchiha Sasuke years ago. Where is the Naruto that defeated that Akatsuki? Where is the Naruto that defeated me? The real Naruto. Would not have given up. No matter what. He would fight on. He then placed his hand on top of the green ring. You are the only one who can stop Itachi. I can't. Naruto said. I I'm afraid. And a Green Lantern can't be afraid. You're wrong. Niji countered. We all heard the ring say it. It's not about not having fear. What do you mean? It's simple, Naruto, Ino said. Fear exists to be conquered. She then pointed to Shikamaru and the others. Look at them. Take a good hard look. Itachi continued his assault on Shikamaru, but still he resisted the pain. I will ask you one last time. Then get it over with, then, Shikamaru said, because I'm not saying anything to you. Very well. Itachi pointed his ring straight at Shikamaru's forehead. Amit Renge. Lee dashed from behind Itachi and kicked him on the chest. The force field absorbed most of the blow, but the impact still sent the Akatsuki soaring. Lee, still somewhat groggy from the effects of the Genjutsu, nonetheless jumped high and came up behind Itachi and wrapped him in his bandages. Itachi countered by expanding his force field, which ripped apart Lee's wrappings, and then constructing his own yellow bandages around the Taijutsu specialist. Itachi spun the coiled Lee and tossed him down against the ground. Hi. Tenten yelled. Itachi looked at his force field and found it was covered in exploding tags, which promptly exploded. As before, however, the yellow aura protected him. Don't you ever learn? He taunted her. Actually, I do, Tenten smirked. Two massive fists crushed Itachi right between them. You see, I was just the distraction. Choji was the punchline. Yo. Choji yelled. He had used his Baikajutsu to grow taller than the forest canopy and overwhelm Itachi. His smile quickly faded when two gigantic golden prongs emerged from between his hands, grabbed them, and pulled them apart. This is the end, he said. The two prongs merged and grew larger and larger until they were the same size as Choji. The massive construct then took the shape of Parallax, who bellowed a mighty roar that shook the whole of the forest of death. Let the last thing you see be the living embodiment of the fear that festers in your hearts. The copy Parallax then growled and charged at Choji. No. All of a sudden a massive green construct rose from the forest and rammed the monster's Parallax head on. The green beast, a cross between a shark and a whale, bit hard on Parallax's neck. It then spun top down and used its massive tail fin to cleave the yellow construct in two. For the first time, Itachi was surprised at the sight of his apparition dissolving. Ion? That's not. Believe it, Itachi. The Sinestro turned to find Naruto floating right in front of him. His ring and aura were glowing their brightest. Naruto-kun. Are you finally ready? He then reared back and tossed a yellow spike towards Naruto. The Green Lantern stood his ground and threw a windmill shuriken construct right into the oncoming projectile. This time, Naruto's construct cut through Itachi's with ease and would have hit the latter if he had not dodged it. You're not gonna take me that easy anymore, Naruto told his enemy. I said I was going to beat you, Itachi, and no matter how I feel, I won't go back on my word. That is, and always will be, my ninja way. The ion construct then slammed Itachi with the back of its tail, sending him reeling, and with Naruto in close pursuit. You're still afraid, Naruto-kun. Fear is eternal. You and all of existence will never be without fear. Itachi threw a swift kunai construct that caught Naruto dead in the chest. For the second time in a short while, he was surprised when Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. Soon dozens of Naruto surrounded him, and they in turn were enveloped by the ion copy, which then dissolved into a solid shield that covered all the shadow clones and Itachi. The Akatsuki threw his ring towards the nearest clone, but a massive tendril shot out from the shield itself and enveloped his hand. Similar wraps grabbed his other hand and legs, and then they stretched him as far as possible. Outside the shield, the real Naruto faced Itachi directly. You're right, that fear will always be there. But I've finally realized exactly why the power ring chose me. A Green Lantern is not about being fearless. A Green Lantern overcomes fear. He then made the ball spin rapidly in all directions. For once, Itachi could do nothing. The wild rotation kept him from concentrating properly to properly use his ring, and the shield's holds prevented him from executing a jutsu. He could only watch silently as the clones, which were floating in the air and thus partially immune from the spin, paired up and began forming their own turning spheres in their hands. The sound of swirling chakra filled the interior of the shield. I will overcome my fears, Itachi. Just as I will overcome you. The clones completed their jutsu and eyed Itachi intently. The real Naruto poured his willpower into the ring and his clones, then yelled. Take this. Midori Rasengan. The clones obeyed instantly and charged as one towards Itachi, who could only watch and try to fortify his aura as the attack struck. The great sphere held for a few seconds, then burst open when it could no longer contain the force of multiple Rasengans. The wind danced wildly and violently, striking and dissolving the multitude of shadow clones, and the real Naruto found it hard to stay in place. Itachi was tossed from the remains of the attack and he fell from the sky and back down to the forest. Naruto followed him in close pursuit. Itachi was barely able to land on his knees. Lee, Tenten, Shikamaru and Choji surrounded him, and Naruto landed soon after. Warning. Power levels 3%. It's alright now, Ring, Naruto said. We got him. He approached Itachi cautiously and kept his ring aimed at him. He was not so surprised to see him smiling, but the type of smile did. For a moment, Itachi seemed content. "Nicely done, Naruto-kun." "No, Green Lantern of Sector 2814, he said. "Ring, power check." "Power levels 27%, the yellow ring answered. All the Konoha ninjas stiffened and readied themselves upon hearing this. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. Maybe next time," he said. To everyone's surprise, Itachi then shot straight up to the heavens. "You're not getting away." Naruto said and followed suit. He tailed Itachi through the yellow stream he was leaving north. Below him, the forest became a green blur due to how fast they were traveling. "Warning. Power levels 1.7%. Faster," he said. He could barely begin to see Itachi. "Warning. Power levels approaching 0%. Immediate recharge required. Just a little more." Itachi was so close now. "Warning. Power levels 0%. Emergency backup online. Override initiated." "No." The ring forced Naruto down to a rather awkward but safe landing on the outskirts of Konoha. The Green Lantern uniform dissolved around him, leaving Naruto with his old ninja clothing. "Damn it." He cursed, clenching his fist hard. He gazed up at the yellow trail Itachi had left as he sped away. For a moment he feared what would happen if he attacked again, now that his power ring was out. But he moved the fear aside. "I'll find a way. There has to be. Next time, I'll be ready. We'll all be ready." Soon after, Itachi sat on a rock just inside the cave he was using as a hideout since his defection from Akatsuki. No doubt the others would soon come looking for him, and he had to be ready for when the time came. "Ring, power check. Power levels 20%. His attack on Naruto was an excellent source of training and information on how to utilize these new abilities to their fullest. It had also answered some questions he had after the previous night's dream. His ring had given him the names of two of the creatures he had seen and had provided invaluable data on the Green Lantern ring's weakness, but refused to elaborate on any other details. His more pressing concern at the moment was the diminishing power of his ring. He would have to find a way to replenish it, despite the lack of what the ring called a power battery. He already had a few ideas in mind, and once he rested for a little time he would begin testing them out. A sudden hiss of static echoed in the small cave. He immediately activated his Sharingan and aimed the ring, thinking it was an illusion from an Akatsuki using Pain's communication technique. FZZSH. Rias. FZZSH. Pond. Ta. It was then Itachi noticed the sound was coming from his ring. He brought it close to his face and found the ring was creating a faint image of a human head. FZZSH. Contact, Terius. You have not been in contact with Korigura Quart in 2 cycles. Terius, respond immediately. Itachi eyed the face with curiosity. Another member of the Sinestro Corps, perhaps. This was an opportunity to learn more about them, so he saw no need to keep quiet. "I'm afraid I don't know who this Terius is you speak of. If I understand the process of selecting new power ring wielders correctly, though, then he is most likely dead. Who is this?" "State your name and sector immediately," the face asked. The distorted head was slowly coming into focus, revealing a face that looked very close to a human, but somehow a little different. It is usually polite to introduce oneself first. The head's features turned sour. "Insubordination may be severely punished in my corps." "Your corps?" Itachi asked. The answer came to him immediately. "Ah, I see. Very well. I am Uchiha Itachi, and based on my ring's information, this is Space Sector 2814. Now the other person raised an eyebrow. "A human?" it asked. Itachi could hear the curiosity in his voice. How ironic. Another defiant Earthman under my command again. "May I presume, then, that you are the Corps' namesake?" The face finally came to full focus. This was a middle-aged man with short hair and receding hairlines, and a long pointed mustache. What Itachi found most impressive was the man's eyes. They bled fear. "Indeed, pink skin. I am Sinestro, founder and leader of the Sinestro Corps. And if I interpret your ring's telemetry properly, it seems there is much we need to discuss." So that's it for today guys. I hope did you enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.